Hey over there, Joe Lunchbox.
And Joy Nightingale.
And today we have landed right here in Dayton, Ohio. Now we're going to go to a spot called the Carillon Historical Park. You might be saying, Carillon, is that someone's name? No, it's actually that tower behind me. It's a bell tower. And this is a museum because people might not realize how much innovation, technology, inventions are from Dayton, Ohio. I mean, the Wright Brothers are from Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
And this is a museum to celebrate all that. So we're going to go in and check it out. But before we do, make sure you like this video. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, do that now. Comment down below. But we're going to do it now. You ready, Joy?
Yeah.
The Carillon Historical Park. Step right up. Let's go for this ride. Just figured take a second to actually look at the Carillon. You see the bells up top. Now we've come here to learn about innovations in Dayton. We've come here, I heard there's some animatronics, and we've come here because there's a hand-carved wood carousel that's a little weird, all about innovations that came from Dayton.
Yep.
And that's what Joy's most excited for. But we love museums, so when we're traveling, any museum that seems a little interesting, we go to. Even museums sometimes that don't seem interesting, we go to because we usually find some interesting things at them.
Yeah.
Center of leadership. I like this statue. Woman holding the Wright Brothers plane. And right here we actually have an airplane elevator, unrestored from 1905. So this wouldn't have been the first plane that they flew in Kitty Hawk in 1903. But it is cool that they have part of one of the Wright Brothers' original planes. 1905 Wright Flyer. The third is the world's first practical airplane. They're talking about the Caroline. It's actually the Deeds Caroline. And it's Miss Edith Deeds and Colonel Edward Andrew Deeds are shown at first regular Sunday concert. I mean, you actually could hear an animatronic.
This park was created for the enjoyment and education of the people of Dayton and those who visit our city. While my primary motivation for Carillon Park was to share the joy of music in a special and memorable way. It's a modest effort to provide a link between a glorious past and a future of unlimited opportunity. Edward and I hope that people of all ages will enjoy the facilities of Carillon Park.
As we walk in the museum, one of the workers saw me filming the animatronic. He said, there's an animatronic theater show. So we're going to go check that out.
Well, hello there. Welcome to Carillon Historical Park. I'm Edward Deeds, the park's founder. Oh my, yes. We have a few surprises today as we explore Dayton's rich tradition of invention. That's right, Scipio. Scipio's a part of our history, too. This big, lovable lug in Orville Wright. We're almost as inseparable as Orville and Wilbur. Scipio's going to run point today as we share with you some of Dayton's great achievements. Take a look. We owe a debt of gratitude to Harry Price for his flood prevention work. And we owe a great debt to his descendants, Rita and Gail Price, for making today's presentation possible. That's why we built this theater, to highlight the Dayton industries and entrepreneurs that changed the world. People ask me, when did I know that Dayton would make its indelible mark on the world? And I say right around 1909. That's when we started seeing Dayton's name around the nation, globe. Wright Flyers, Stoddard Dayton race cars, Barney and Smith railroad cars, Davis sewing machine, and of course, National Cash Registers.
There is nothing you cannot accomplish. I started this company when I saw the potential of an invention by James and John Reed, two local saloon owners who recognized the need to keep their bartenders honest by creating a method of accountability in sales transactions. I took their incorruptible cashier from Dayton innovation to global success.
And one of the best salesmen was a good friend, Richard Grant, who would make his mark on the business world as the enterprising leader of the Reynolds and Reynolds Company. In 1909, we were working on a company of our own called Delco, Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company. Charles would come to my barn sometimes with a few of our NCR coworkers. Back when we were known as the Barn Gang, we had no idea we would change the future of transportation.
All right, let's get back to work, boys. Cadillac wants 5,000 of our new ignition systems for their 1910 model, and we're not going to disappoint them. Now he asks me, hey, if we can replace the crank on a cash register with an electrical motor, why can't we remove the crank from an automobile and replace it with an electric self-starter? What do you think, fellas? Can we figure it all out by 1912?
So were the Wright Brothers, Dayton's most famous sons. 1909 was the year I met Orville and Wilbur. Oh, what a pair they were, right, Scipio? Now, in June of this particular year, 1909, the boys were invited to the Montgomery County Fairgrounds, where they were being honored by the entire city. Folks had traveled from all around the country to celebrate the success of their flying machine demonstrations all across Europe.
Anytime I see food items with characters, I like it. Keebler's Elves. Sugar Bear. I don't know who Sugar Bear is, but I want this Woody the Woodpecker set and that Peter Pan sandwich lunchbox. Oh, this is cool. So we have the Flintstone mugs, but we actually have the molds that made it. Only you can prevent forest fires. City of 1,000 factories. We're seeing all the items that actually came from Dayton. And they were talking about in the Animatronics show, Deed's Barn, where such companies like Delco was started. Well, they actually, this isn't a replica. They moved the barn here. The Barn Gang. When Kettering resigned his position at NCR in 1909 to work full-time for Deeds on their automobile project, his chief assistant, William A. Bill Price, took over NCR's inventions. Just imagine the self-starter. Stuff like that was invented in this barn. Another animatronic, Charles F. Kettering, the hayloft inventor. Here in the former hayloft is Charles F. Kettering's workshop. Mr. Kettering is working on perfecting the self-starter. He has a few minutes to speak to you. It's crazy to think, here's this animatronic sitting where the real man sat to invent this. We actually have a photo of what inside the Deeds barn looked like.
The hayloft workshop.
The hayloft workshop. When we look in, we actually can see some of the tools still sitting in there. Seeing that Delco was started in the barn, we actually have some Delco products. And just think, as if you're like me and you open up the fridge, pop open a cold one, you know, a nice thing of chocolate milk. We have refrigerators because of Dayton, Ohio. Invention of Freon. It looks like an old icebox, but no, this is actually Frigidaire refrigerator with a wood cabinet from 1921. We're wondering why this refrigerator is signed by those people, and it says, in spite of this success, we're talking about Frigidaire, General Motors made the decision to sell off the Frigidaire division in the late 1970s, and the last refrigerator to come off the assembly line is displayed here, featuring the signatures of the many employees that have worked at the plant. And there's actually a photo of it in the plant. We don't need the photo because it's sitting right here. Why, Red Bill, why? I love this Delco Light Company, and they're talking about Miss O'Leary's cow. She's the one that supposedly started the Chicago fire. You see the cow kicks over the lantern, starts it. But now you don't have to worry about the light bulb. Richard and Dorothy's Coming Collections. So these are toys manufactured in Dayton, Ohio. I want this circus wagon. Look at the ships with the cannons. Boy, that's for joy. Look at the elephant. It's a shame its trunk's down. Look at this. The flip-flop flying clowns. So you launch them, and it actually hooks it and spins it around.
I do the crossing lights.
Joy's turning on the crossing lights. She just opened the Capeman store.
Station billboard lights.
And we learned NCR used to make cash registers, so we actually have the wall of cash registers. I wish they were still so beautiful looking with all the metal and the ornate decorations. Like, look at this one. The National Cash Register Company. And here we have it, the Carousel of Dayton Innovation. Now this isn't any carousel, it's a new carousel, but still wood carving. You see the cash register. The trolleys were made here. All technology and industries from Dayton. Carousel rides, $1. Joy, you want to take a ride on a carousel? Joy, do you want to take a ride on a carousel with me?
Sure, why not?
Awesome. As it's going though, let's see what else we have. We have a train. Imes dog food. Oh, there's the dog.
There was inseparable, like,
We have a motorcycle from Dayton. Can of root beer. A crushed can of root beer. All the industries of Dayton. And a few horses, of course. Another dog's hanging out in the back. We just learned, it actually says every name. So the company, the Rubicon, there's a locomotive, the Canal Mule, the root beers, because the Pop Top was invented here in Dayton. I think I'm gonna ride a box of chocolate. And Joy's gonna ride a horse.
Oh my gosh.
You know what's funny? Look where your feet things are. Yeah, they don't reach that at all. 1901 Wright Parade Horse. That's a cool thing to ride. I'm riding Esther Price Candies. Life is like a box of chocolate. I love the Imes dog food bag. Actually, it's a dog's head popping out. Oh, I didn't realize it's a timeline. Kite flying and dating in 1899. Then there's the glider as a kite in Kitty Hawk. There's the first flight. December 17th, 1903.
Riding your box of chocolate.
And wait, I'm petting the dog. Orville's dog. We're slowing down.
Wow. That actually represents a Herschel carousel horse.
And this horse represents the Huffy bicycle and also Davis sewing machines. A Huffy radio bike. We actually saw one of these Huffy radio bikes at Bicycle Heaven in Pittsburgh. We'll leave a link to that video down below. But it's cool that it's represented here on the carousel.
So it's really cute. Is this little house barn spide is like a little kids play area. It's seriously the Juvenile Manufacturing Company office and factory. They're working hard.
This publication company took on publishing notable magazines including Newsweek, Redbook, Scholastic Magazine, Reader's Digest, and U.S. News. By 1952, the Dayton plant printed 60 national publications. And I like we actually have some of the presses for it.
I love you more than...
Joy, I love you more than Kodak. Development of continuous inkjet printing began in 1967 at the Mead Research Labs located southeast of Dayton, Ohio. And that's not my line. I shoot Kodak film, that's why I say it, but I stole that from the movie Pecker. Ooh. A motorcycle from Davis Sewing Machine Company. Joy, could I get a sewing machine like this? And we're also learning about Huffy corporations with their bikes going around. My first bike was a Huffy bicycle. Just imagine one of those little pop-top soda cans established in 1949 here in Dayton. Now Joy, she's a little bit of the bubbly. Bubble, 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 bubble. Ah, you kept that soda fresh. Learning about NCR Pavilion at the 64-65 World's Fair. We learned one of NCR slogans, get a receipt, on the back of this cash register. We even have more cash registers than the ones that are around the carousel. You might be thinking, oh, that was a nice museum. We just did this. They also have all these outbuildings, which we're about to head out and see. But I've never seen this, and I think it's awesome. If it's raining, they have complimentary umbrellas for you to use. It looks like some repairs are happening to the Bowling Green train station. I want to come back because there's actually train tracks going around the whole park, and I want to ride a train around here.
This is Newcomb Tavern. It was built in 1796, and it is actually the oldest building in Dayton.
And it's still here for us to go inside. George Newcomb and his family were among the first settlers to arrive in Dayton in 1796. It's the oldest standing building in Dayton. The right side of the building was the family's home. The left side was a tavern. For about 65 cents a night, traveler could have a meal and lodging for himself and his horse. I could get us both a meal and lodging. I got enough. Oh, it's cool. On the mantle of the fireplace, we have where you'd make your own candles. I love the staircase. The raw wood, and the outside you see just the split logs, or the outside. Cool sundial.
Originally located in the Van Cleef Park, and it was dedicated in 1896.
Wow. I don't know if you could hear in the distance, but the bells are ringing. Can you hear those bells? Ah, Newcomb's house. We saw the tavern. There is no record that he ever lived in this Greek revival style house, but George Newcomb, an early Dayton settler and tavern owner, owned the land on which it was built in.
This was built circa 1841.
1841. I always love these. If you don't know what this is so you could get up in your wagon. It would pull up right there, you step on up. We could play cards. Look, Jack of Hearts. It's my lucky card. I love when mirrors get old and you can see like the backings through them. And if one Deeds barn was enough, we actually have a replica of the Deeds barn, just so you can see how it would look outside, even though we saw the real one inside. You might be like, what is this weird, imposing looking tower in the middle of the outdoor section? Well, it actually was an Old River Park swimming pool tower. Over here we have a photo of the swimming pool with the light in the middle. Here's a good photo of everyone enjoying the pool with the light there. The tower is the centerpiece of a large round swimming pool at Old River Park, located just off Patterson Boulevard near Carillon Park. This building I'm actually really intrigued about. Sugar Camp Waves Cabin 22. During World War II, the cabin housed 600 U.S. Navy waves, women accepted for voluntary emergency services as they worked on classified code breaking. My grandma was part of that program during World War II. It's actually where she met my grandfather. Here we actually have a Sugar Waves Cabin, 1943. Grandma, is that you? But my grandma, from what I know, wasn't stationed in Dayton, Ohio. It would be crazy if I looked and went, wait, there she is. We actually have Wright Brothers National Museum, a museum in a museum, museum inception. We have a replica of the Wright Cycle Company. The building the Wright brothers built the first bike in. This was built here in 1972. The reason we don't have the real one is because Henry Ford bought it and moved it to his Greenfield Village. We actually stood in that at
cool.
his museum. We'll put a link to that down below. Joy, do you know what? This is only a replica of the greatest bike shop in the world. And here's the dedication ceremony for the Wright's home and Wright Cycle Shop at Greenfield Village on April 16, 1938, on what would have been Wilbur's 71st birthday. Van Cleve Bicycle, Wright Cycle Company. Imagine having something like that with this shield. This was from 1901. So you think they were just building bicycles. Nah, they were back here building the plane. We have rudder and kite, a replica of one of the two rudders by the Wright brothers. Here's the wind tunnel. It's a replica wind tunnel. That's how they were testing things in 1901. And here we have the 1905 Wright Flyer 3. Now they've already flew before this, even more than 100 times. But the thing that made this one important in 1905 is this is the first practical one. This one they were able to fly up, they were able to steer, they were able to land. So instead of just getting up in the air and going and coming down, they were controlling this one. And that's the significance of this airplane. And it's sitting right here. This isn't a replica. This is the 1905 Wright Flyers 3. That's crazy. So this is from the original plane in 1903. Some of the wood and fabric pieces from the Wright Brothers plane. We have this covered bridge. Well, what I really find amusing is the fines. $5 fine for riding or driving over this bridge faster than a walk. $20 fine for driving over this bridge more than 20 horses or cattle at once. $5 fine for carrying fire over or under this bridge in an unclosed vessel. And this was the Smith Covered Bridge, built in 1870 over Little Sugar Creek in Bellbrook, Ohio. I love this one. It almost looks like a wheel framing it out. This is crazy. They actually moved one of the locks from the Miami-Erie Canal, lock number 17, built circa 1833, 6 miles north in Dayton. Stuff I wasn't expecting to see today when I woke up. Something like this. I knew like old buildings would be moved here. Not a whole lock on a canal. Bridge number 2, Columbia Bridge Works. Morrison Iron Bridge from 1881. And the reason this one is the Morrison Iron Bridge is because David Morrison was the founder of the Columbia Bridge Works
Of Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, there it is. It says it right up top. Columbia Bridge Works, Dayton, Ohio. Museum keeps going and going. We're up to the transportation building. It's coach number 341, built in 1870. 9 passengers could hang out in here. I do like, you see, there's the 2 seats.
It's more like it has never been restored to the original paint.
But you also see the little seat in the middle. So you'd have a third row in the center and never being restored. Yeah, you can see some of the paint. It looks like there was an eagle on the side. We have an awesome wagon, a Conestoga wagon, built in 1843 by the Wright Brothers for a farmer named Jacob Hughes. This wagon had a covered bottom to hold items in place, pulled by either oxen or horse. They were used to haul freight and for general farm. I love how it like bows down in the center look of it.
B&O number 1, built in 1835 by Baltimore, Ohio Railroad and used until the 1890s. It is the oldest existing locomotive built in the U.S.
And I buy it in Monopoly.
The limited car, it's an Interurban. It was built in 1904 in Cleveland.
And this one we're allowed on. But do not touch the controls. Can't sit here. Man, look how beautiful this is. I wish this is how trains and buses and all transportation vehicles still looked. Light bulbs like that. Imagine they'd taken the time to put stained glass on your public transportation. Some people might not know, I'm a man that appreciates a fine caboose. And we have one right here.
This is at 1923.
I never hopped aboard a caboose that old. So are you checking to make sure those rags aren't on fire on the wheels? I like the little mess table they got at this one. Stove and sink. Last vehicle we're allowed on is a Dayton passenger train. This specific one was built in 1903 and was used all the way up until 1960. Oh yeah, this is beautiful.
So supposedly this one, the tickets for these type of cars were a little pricier.
I see why.
But you had like a porter, heat, running water in the bathroom.
Hey porter, hey porter. I never seen this on a train, only buses, but it looks like the cords on a bus you'd pull, letting them know that this is your stop. Ooh, can we go on the other side of the train? I think we can. I got excited. Sorry, trolley bus. I like ya. I don't love ya. I'm gonna go back on the train. Some people mess up streetcars for trolleys. They think the things in the ground are street or trolleys. No, what makes it a trolley is this connection up top. That's why the things in San Francisco aren't trolleys. They're streetcars. See, this trolley is actually has wheels. It doesn't need to be on a track to be a trolley. We can go on the other part of the train. Awesome. Huh?
We could have totally walked through.
Oh, we could walk totally through backwards. We actually see in the men's room. Fancy train. I love how the water was stored up there. It's probably the drinking water. And then we have the woman's Louvre. She has a nicer mirror than the men's room. We have a replica of the building from Dayton Cyclery. Originally a sewing machine manufacturer in 1800s, by 1977, Dayton-based Huffy Corporation was the largest producers of bicycles in the world. Although the bikes aren't just from the company, but they're showing you the history of bikes. This is interesting, the Dayton motor wheel. The motor wheel is designed to be ridden either as a regular bicycle or motorcycle. It featured a gas tank mounted over the handlebars and a motor manufactured by American Magneto Company in 1917. I didn't see the motor at first. It's actually in that front tire. The tire rotates, the wheel rotates around the motor. That's an interesting design. And here we have one of those Huffy radio bikes. Imagine the first bike with the radio built on it. Love this first bike. The red and green is actually called the Bone Shaker from 1865, made in New York, New York. The whole building on the 1913 flood. Look at that, imagine the tops of the houses. Here's a crazy map of it. You can see the blue where everything flooded. You can see what were streets. Wading out the water, imagine just the Levy's boat. But then we learned the two other brothers, not the Wright Brothers here, built cement tubing, which helped fix that problem. Imagine trying to escape the waters by climbing the power lines. The light bulb from the flood, and it's filled with water. What fascinates me is, here's a bronze statue made in 2013, 100 years after the flood. The sculptor's still making it.
So it's a business ledger, so basically it listed everything, all the funds that the company spent on the flood relief efforts during that. By the end of the year, it had recorded more than $194,000 spent.
This says, John F. Patterson, founder of the National Cash Register Company, launched one of the greatest rescue and relief efforts during the 1913 flood. And if you see behind Joy, we have an oversized American flag. I heard that was a normal size flag, and when it absorbed the floodwaters, it just stretched out the flag, and that's some made up news from Joe.
Just like the little toys, like the capsule things that you put in the water and just put in.
Exactly. So these pre-treated pipes with the cement were made by two brothers named the Price Brothers after the flooding to prevent it from happening again. We're going after building after building, stuff after stuff. I love these early 1908 Hatfield, a horseless carriage. Yep, building after building after building. Can you believe how big this collection is, or this museum is?
It's crazy.
I want to get one of these. It reminds me of like how people now have those electric wheelchair scooter things. This looks like it's an early version. It is an early version. That's crazy. The Custer electric wheelchair, circa 1921. We have Cheers to Gem City with all the Steins.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Yeah, some of these glass ones are insane. I like the frog, or this monkey eating fruit. Yeah, this started the character Steins. Not to be mistaken by Toby Mugs. Modern Steins. Ooh, I like the slot machine style. Combine all your passions, drinking and gambling. Joy, all I have to say is, and cheers to you. The tower behind us.
So it's one milk and one dark, I think.
We've come to say goodbye. That was Carillon Historical Park, but there's only one thing left to do. You see, I rode a box of chocolate on the carousel today. I never thought those would be words. Well, we found a piece of chocolate from the company that I rode the box of chocolate. So we're gonna try a piece of chocolate. Cheers. That chocolate's not just good for riding, it's good for eating too. Joe, I think we could call it.
I think so.
Carillon Historical Park. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels.
Good eats.
And live life.